to another Tea Time with me, Amanda Prochaska. I am on site today. You see, I'm not in my regular recording office. I'm at beautiful Lake Las Vegas, but I'm so glad that you're here today to talk about the 3 things that we do absolutely wrong when it comes to leading SteerCo meetings. So let's go ahead and dive right in. You're meeting with your executive leadership on a regular basis, your key stakeholders in your business, maybe even you call them sponsors. So I see 3 things that people get wrong all the time. The first one is they allow the SIs, the system integrators, to lead those meetings. We'll talk about why that's a wrong move as a leader. I also see the meetings becoming update meetings where you just share a bunch of information, which is kind of silly because that could be done in an email or some other function. The third thing that people get wrong is they make it all sunshine and rainbows. Everything is great and nothing's wrong. We have no risks. So those are the 3 things I see people get wrong all the time. So let's talk about why those are issues and how to optimize your SteerCo meetings. Okay, so number 1, allowing your SI to run your meetings it's a big mistake. It's easy to do because likely they're helping you put together the materials, and maybe you don't want, maybe you want them to be heard versus you. I'm not sure why leaders necessarily do it, but it is a huge problem because at the end of the day, while the SI might be able to fill in some knowledge gaps that you might not have, or that you do have, I should say, they are ultimately not going to be around post-implementation. So if you're a leader of a project, it is critically important that you take that leadership role. This is your opportunity to make sure your SteerCo, your sponsors, are all aligned, not to what is necessarily happening today. That's not the only thing. It is also making sure that they understand where you're going in the future. So often when I walk into a implementation that's mid-flight and I see a leader outsourcing the SteerCo to the SI, I automatically know that we have a ton of risk in that project. So as a leader, you can enable your SI to help you get the SteerCos up and running. You can talk to them about when best to do SteerCos. Sometimes it's a monthly cadence. Sometimes I even had a project this year that it was on a weekly basis. I think that's overkill. But sometimes meetings with your sponsors are milestone-based. So whatever that looks like for you, just make sure that you're using your SI to maybe put together the deck or offer information and insights to the deck. But at the end of the day, that you as a leader, you develop your own talking points. You understand what you want to communicate to those sponsors, because while the SI is there, they're not ultimately accountable for the success of the program. You are. Okay, so that is number 1. Please, as a leader leading change, do not outsource your SteerCos to the SI. Now, here's a little bit of a tip, and maybe some people are not going to want me saying this, but SIs will push to lead that meeting because then they can control the narrative. Okay? Now think about that. They are going to push to control that meeting so they can control the narrative. And I'm going to get to sunshine and rainbows here and number 3, but you want to be able to control that narrative in the meeting and show what really matters, what risks you have, and maybe tell a little bit of a different story than maybe the SI is wanting you to. Again, they are going to leave, you are going to stay, so it's important for you to lead those meetings and make sure that you have your own talking points. So that's a little insider tip. Okay, so number two is all about actually, I'm going to skip to number 3. I'm going to skip to number 3 and come back to number 2. I think it'll work better in the storyline. So number 3 is all sunshine and rainbows. So as I was just talking about controlling the narrative, So often I'll see a SteerCo and you're spending so much time talking about what's going well. And that doesn't really serve anyone in the room, okay? So when you have a bunch of sponsors and everyone together, it is important to make sure that they have confidence in your leadership abilities, confidence in the project. However, most leaders will read through and start questioning if everything is positive. So what I always tell people is let's make sure, A, that in all of your SteerCos, you're talking about why the work you're doing is helping support the sponsors. Okay, so it's not about yourself or your project that you should be spending most of your time on. It's about how you're helping the sponsors be successful. But when you're going through status updates, you can hit on the status updates, make them feel very confident in the work that you're doing. But you always talk about at the end what's on your radar as risks and how you are mitigating those risks. So talk about a confidence booster. If a leader can see you saying, I've been successful here, I know and I'm perceiving that we might have risks here, but this is how we're mitigating them. Oh my gosh, y'all, it's going to be a game changer if you're not doing that already. So make sure that you're talking about why this project is supporting them and making them look good. What you've been doing to make sure it's been successful so far, but what risks you have on the radar. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but you can show that you're mitigating those risks already and you're going to win in your SteerCo. Okay, my last one about what people get wrong, and this was originally number 2, but we're going to talk about it as number 3, is that it's just an update meeting. And I get really annoyed at people who do this because it is a waste of sponsors' time if you get them all together and you just give them an update. Okay, you could have sent them an email, you could have given them a video highlight, whatever that is. If you're going to use your sponsors and your SteerCo as an update, you can do that without a meeting. Where sponsors are critically important to your success is if you engage them around questions and direction you need from them. Okay? So an example of this, this was actually a project really early on in my career where I had a bunch of actually the entire CEO's direct reports and the CEO, so it was the leadership team meeting of the company, and I went in there and I said, this project will not work unless you adopt these changes. And then I asked, are you going to have any concerns about doing that? And we had a fantastic conversation about how to support the initiative. That's what SteerCos are there for you to do. You should ask them questions. You should get feedback. You should listen to them around what's going on in your company that you need to be aware of. Those meetings are so critical to be leveraged in that way versus an update. Okay, so whenever I go into a project, we always talk about, okay, so we're going to give them an update, we're going to talk about risks and the risks that we're mitigating, how we're helping them, but at the end of the day, we should have a good 3 to 4 questions that we need to discuss as a team with the sponsors in the room. And those questions could be like, can you go out and do a town hall with your teams? So it could be an action, it could be I need advice, it could be what are you hearing in the organization about the change. So there could be various different types of questions, but the vast majority of your time, and I'm talking like if it's an hour-long meeting, over half of your meeting should be in discussion versus updates. So that's how you leverage your sponsors and truly get them engaged. If you're asking them for help, if you're asking them for advice, if you're asking them for action, you are going to be so much better off than most people on their projects. So as a leader, just to wrap up, the common mistakes is that you outsource the SteerCo to the SI, make sure that you're the one controlling the narrative, and at the end of the day, you're the one owning it. Number two, make it more than an update meeting. Activate, ask questions, get them engaged. And number three, please don't make it all sunshine and rainbows. I would really love to hear more about what risks you're perceiving and how you're anticipating those and mitigating those today. So with that said, have better SteerCo meetings, and you're going to have more success in not only your change adoption, but you're also going to have more success in getting the ROI that you were anticipating. With that said, thank you so much for watching today. I am the CEO of Wonder Services, the Chief Wonder Officer, actually, founder of that, and we're all about solving the problem of change adoption. So if you are leading change and you need help with, from us around strategy, execution, or just coaching, you have found us at Wonder Services. Until next time, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and we will be back soon.